Hello and welcome to Addressing Diversity and Wellness in the Strengthened Aged Care Quality Standards. My name is Dale Park and I'm from Diversity Training and Consulting, and I'm going to be delivering this webinar on behalf of the sector development teams in the Grampian region, the Eastern Sector Development Team and the SSD Connect Alliance. Today, the webinar is looking at Standard 2, the organisation. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that this webinar is being recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung peoples, and I pay respect to them as the traditional custodians of the land. I recognise it always has and always will be Aboriginal land. I honour the strength and resilience of First Nations peoples and communities and pay respects to all elders, past, present, and First Nations people watching this recording. This is the second webinar in a series of 5, and today we're going to be looking at Standard 2, the organisation. In Standard 1, we went through some background around definitions of diversity and wellness, intersectionality, and how it relates to the aged care sector and why we need to be taking an intersectional approach, as well as background into the Royal Commission into Aged Care, the Aged Care Act being developed within a human rights-based approach, and the changes that were being highlighted for the strengthened aged care quality standards. If you missed Standard 1, I highly recommend that you go back and watch this introduction, as it really is quite key to setting the scene for the discussion we're about to have. The strengthened aged care quality standards place significant emphasis on the role of the organisation in fostering a culture of safety, inclusion, and quality. Within the standards, there's an older person statement, which is, I have confidence in my service provider. And there's a worker statement, which says, I feel empowered to do my job well. And this is ultimately what we want our clients and our staff saying in relation to the organisation. The strengthened standards also state that the governing body must encourage a culture of safety and quality. Staff and governance systems are key to the delivery of safe, quality, effective, and person-centred care, and this is something that must be achievable for every single person. The strengthened aged care standards also make it explicit that organisations must respond to the diverse needs of older people, actively involving them in their care and ensuring that they are leading the decision-making process. So we're now going to look at a case study and see how it aligns to the outcomes and requirements of Standard 2. Miguel is a HR manager working in a small regional community health service, Brightside. As he walks out of a meeting room, he collides with Angela's walker as she is moving quickly around a sharp corner. Angela is attending the strength and exercise class to build her confidence and regain mobility. Another worker, talking at reception, reacts quickly and catches Angela so she doesn't fall. Miguel untangles himself from the walker, and another person coming around the hallway stops in time to avoid a further collision. Sean, who is running the strength and exercise class, hears the commotion and comes around the corner to check and make sure everyone is okay. He takes the clients out of the hallway into the small room where some of the other people are on the treadmills. When Miguel returns to his office, he begins to fill out an incident report. He has seen the exercise class using the hallway each week, and though it didn't seem right, it's not his area of expertise, so he didn't say anything. While initially reluctant to lodge an incident report, he knows the organisation is more concerned with safety than blame. Annette, the Health and Safety Wellbeing Officer, speaks with Miguel, Sean, and the other people involved. Sean advised the air conditioner in the hallway doesn't work, so he uses the hallway in the main building to keep the clients comfortable. He hadn't asked to have it fixed because it's been broken for so long, and he's always hearing that money needs to be saved. Annette conducts a full review of the program and completes a risk assessment with Sean. Annette recommends to the executive that they replace the air conditioner, as using the hallway for exercise activities presents a significant risk for clients and staff. The executive accepts her recommendation, agreeing it would make for a better experience for the clients and it would be safer. Communication is sent to the directors and program managers, reinforcing the need to place client safety as the top priority, including the obligation to report all hazards and incidents. Moving into a larger space, Sean takes the opportunity to work with the clients and refresh the program. The clients say they want to bring more fun to their exercise, incorporating music and game-based activities. At the next quarterly review, Sean measures client outcomes and engagement scores, which have improved significantly. Now what we'll do is go through some questions, and you may want to pause the video in order to give yourself or your team, if you're working as a group, time to consider your responses and answers. So the first question, reflect on the specific outcomes for Standard 2 that are demonstrated in the case study. How are they achieved through the actions taken by Brightside staff and management? Question 2. Reflect on Sean's engagement with clients in redesigning the exercise program and the impact this had on their engagement and satisfaction. How does this demonstrate the principles of partnering with older people? Question 3. In what ways does Brightside's approach to incident management and risk assessment reflect a commitment to a quality and safety culture? And question 4, how does this case study exemplify person-centered practice? And what are the benefits of incorporating client feedback into program improvements? We'll now align the case study to the requirements and outcomes in Standard 2. The incident at Brightside highlights how effective safety management, client engagement, and quality improvement processes align with the requirements of Standard 2. By addressing the incident through a structured approach, the organisation demonstrates its commitment to partnering with older people, maintaining a quality and safety culture, and implementing robust management practices. So we'll look at that in a little further detail. So when we think about partnering with older people, Sean's efforts to refresh the exercise program based on client feedback really illustrates meaningful engagement with older people. And it wasn't only that they partnered well together. As a result, the program was enhanced and the engagement and outcomes for clients improved. When we're thinking about a quality and safety culture, the executive took a decision to replace the air conditioner and prioritise client safety, highlighting a strong commitment to that overall culture of safety and continuous improvement. There was a real need to emphasise safety over a blame culture and ensure that they were encouraging incidents to be reported. And this is really key when we're thinking about a psychologically safe work environment where we're empowering our staff to speak up so that they can contribute to a safer work environment. This type of approach will build clients' confidence in the organisation and empower staff to do their jobs well. When we think about the accountability and quality systems that were in place, the incident management process demonstrates the organisation's quality system in action. Miguel's prompt incident report and the subsequent risk assessment by Annette illustrate effective accountability. When we think about a risk assessment, Annette, as the Health, Safety and Wellbeing Officer, conducted a thorough risk assessment, and she actually was then able to identify that using the hallway for exercise activities was a significant risk. She didn't just speak to one or two people, she spoke to all the clients involved as well as the staff. This showed a really thorough approach. As a result of having the risk assessment, this really backed up her recommendation to replace the air conditioner, and it was accepted by the executive. And this demonstrates a proactive approach to risk mitigation and ensures a safer environment for clients and staff. As we've already mentioned, Miguel was prompt in filling out the incident report. The strengthened standards encourage incident reporting and prevention and really emphasize the need for a psychologically safe environment where workers feel comfortable reporting issues without fear of reprisal. I think when we consider this case study from Sean's perspective, he knew that the air conditioner wasn't working in the hall, and probably that the hallway wasn't the best place for this, but he thought that that was a better alternative than asking for additional money. This really shows the importance of being explicitly clear around our culture of safety, and that we emphasize that safety comes first above everything else. We can unintentionally send messages that seem like other things are more important. So it's crucial that we're really clear and documenting the type of safety and continuous improvement culture that we're wanting to establish. By having a robust incident management system, this will lead to early identification of potential hazards and an overall preventative approach, helping to identify and mitigate risks before they result in any harm. When we think about feedback and complaints management, Annette spoke to everyone involved in the incident, and she was actually getting ahead of a potential complaint and showing that the organisation was taking action. Sean also engaged with clients to consider improvements to the program and adapted it based on their feedback. This resulted in a refreshed program that significantly improved client outcomes and engagement scores. And finally, I think this case study really demonstrates person-centered approach. There was a proactive response to the incident and a subsequent program improvements that actually was based on feedback and engagement from the clients. This undoubtedly made the clients feel more valued and listened to, and an acknowledgement that their safety was important by changing where the exercise program was held. I think one of the things that's really a key to highlight in this case study is that this incident triggered some significant changes, not only to the location of where the program was held, but how it was designed and delivered. And this really demonstrates how crucial it is to regularly review programs with clients and to build in feedback opportunities on an ongoing basis. As we saw, once that feedback is received, then programs can be reshaped and it can really have a positive impact on client engagement and outcomes. We'll now watch another case study and see how it aligns to the requirements and outcomes of Standard 2. Jackie is 70 years old. She is attending Bendigo Pride in the Park, where she meets Chloe from Connect Social Support Group. They chat about the group, and Jackie tells Chloe, "Over the last few years, my social life has slowed down. Family and friends have moved away. I'm cautious in new environments, and I never used to be." Chloe asks why she feels that way, and Jackie says, "As an older trans woman, I just feel I have to be careful." Chloe thanks Jackie for sharing that with her and asks her to consider joining the group. Chloe receives Jackie's referral and is eager to make sure she feels welcomed. She sets a meeting with all the staff and a separate one with the clients. She tells them, "We have a new client joining, and she's a transgendered woman, and I want us to make her feel welcome. And remember, we are completely inclusive here." On Jackie's first day, she really enjoys the group and feels people are friendly and welcoming. A few weeks later, Chloe receives a call from Barry, a worker at a local LGBTI group. He says Jackie has felt uncomfortable about some conversations since she joined the group. Chloe says, "I'm disappointed as I spoke to all the staff and clients and made it really clear that everyone was to make her feel welcome." Barry says, "I can see you were trying to be helpful, but I think this is why she's had clients and staff say things like they didn't mind that she was transgender. There were some questions about her transition and her body which are inappropriate. While you had good intentions, you didn't ask Jackie how and if she wanted information about her being trans shared." Chloe says she feels terrible and asks how she can make it right. Barry suggests that all the staff attend LGBTI training and he can chat to the clients if they have any questions. Chloe meets with Jackie to apologise, letting her know staff will undertake training and complete a self-assessment audit against the Rainbow Tick. Chloe asks if Jackie would like to be involved with this audit, and she is pleased to be consulted. Following the audit, the organisation has a list of actions to progress, including updating their policies about sharing client information. Jackie is pleased to have LGBTI examples added to the policy, and that it states clearly if a client shares information about their gender identity, relationships, or sexuality, the staff member must check who the client is comfortable knowing that information and in what circumstance. Jackie is happy with the changes and feels more confident being part of the group moving forward. So we'll go through the questions associated with this case study, and remember to just pause your video to give yourself a chance to consider the answers and maybe write any notes that you want to. So question 1, identify the specific outcomes of Standard 2 that are successfully applied in this case study. Question 2. How did Chloe's actions reflect a person-centered approach, and what impact did involving Jackie in the Rainbow Tick audit have on her sense of inclusion and safety? Question 3. Considering Jackie's experience as an older trans woman, how did Chloe's initial and subsequent actions address her unique needs? What lessons can be learned about creating a genuinely inclusive environment from this case study? Question 4. Imagine Jackie joins your organisation. What specific steps would you take to ensure she feels welcomed and safe? What would you need to change or improve to make sure she had a good experience? We'll now align the outcomes and requirements of the standard to the examples we saw in the case study. So firstly, when we think about diversity and person-centered practice, what I love about this case study is that it really shows that true inclusion extends beyond good intentions. Chloe's initial approach, while well-meaning, had the exact opposite outcome. Inclusion is measured by the client's experiences and feelings, not just the intention behind actions. So I guess what that means is we may want to be inclusive and think that we are, but unless we're asking our clients and unless they're telling us that we are inclusive, how do we really know? And I think the other point is, are we inclusive for everyone or just for some people? Think about who is in your service and who's missing. Why are those people not in your service? And what can be done to help them understand your commitment to being inclusive and making them feel welcomed? When we think about partnering with older people, this case study illustrates the importance of involving clients in the design of their care. Chloe's initial efforts to create an inclusive environment were insufficient, and it left Jackie feeling unsafe. However, Chloe was able to demonstrate some really effective partnering with older people by including Jackie in the Rainbow Tick self-assessment, audit, and policy updates. And this really resulted in an improved policy with clear guidelines for consent regarding the sharing of information about gender identity and relationships. I think a really key thing to point out is it's absolutely crucial that we partner with older people. But Jackie shouldn't be the only one consulted around the Rainbow Tick audit. And as a trans person, the responsibility shouldn't lie with her. We don't want to overwhelm her or anyone else with cultural load. So it's really important that we're not placing too much responsibility on others to do our work for us, whilst also ensuring that we are giving them an opportunity to have a voice and to share their thoughts. When we think about feedback and complaints, what we saw is that Barry's feedback was essential in identifying and addressing Jackie's concerns. Chloe was proactive in her response, and as she moved forward, she wasn't defensive. She listened and understood her mistakes and wanted to improve them. In this case study, it was really fortunate that Jackie had someone like Barry to lean on to provide that feedback, because she clearly didn't feel comfortable herself to do that. And it's just another reminder that we need to constantly provide our clients with opportunities to be giving us both formal and informal feedback, and making it really clear that we're always looking to improve how we do things. When we think about how the incident was managed, Chloe's actions, such as arranging staff training and policy revisions, really reflect a robust incident management process. She didn't just apologize and leave things as they were. She took action to make improvements. This really underscores the significance of effective mechanisms for reporting, managing, and learning from incidents in order to improve service delivery. Psychological safety is something that I think is really important for us to consider when looking at this case study. Jackie's reluctance to voice her concerns and the subsequent action taken by Chloe and Barry highlight the importance of a supportive atmosphere where individuals can feel safe and secure to express their concerns or any issues that they're seeing. Jackie didn't feel it was psychologically safe for her to raise her concerns directly with Chloe. So it's really important that we have psychological safety for our staff and for our clients, so they feel safe to raise concerns and improvements to our approaches can be made. So we've come to the end of this webinar, and I just wanted to provide a little bit of a summary around the strengthened standards. And they really are a pivotal step forward in enhancing the quality of care provided to all older Australians. The focus on diversity, wellness, trauma-aware and healing-informed practices really underscores the expectation for all aged care providers. It's absolutely essential that aged care providers create environments that reflect different cultural, linguistic, and religious backgrounds, as well as responding to the diverse gender identities and sexual orientations of all of our clients. The strengthened aged care quality standards are really attempting to dismantle the systemic barriers that exist for older people and shift to a more equitable and compassionate aged care system. So thank you for joining me for this webinar, where we've looked at how diversity and wellness aligns to the strengthened aged care quality standards. I really encourage you, if you haven't already, to go and check out Standard 1 and then the following standards, Standard 3, 4 and 5. If you're interested in accessing further support to progress your organisation's diversity and inclusion approach, please reach out to your local sector support and development team, or feel free to touch base with the sector support and development teams who have brought you this workshop, and their details are on the screen. If you're wanting to connect with me, the QR code on your screen will take you to my LinkedIn profile. Thanks again for joining us for these webinars, and be sure to check out the sector development team's websites for further resources and education as they become available.